I'm Pastor Mark Wood. I'm the Managing Director of Church Planting, Renewal and Support in the LCMS Office of National Mission. Also the pastor of a new church start in Arizona.
And I'm Pastor Jonathan Manor. I work out of the Pastoral Education Department at the Synod. I'm the Director of PALS and Continuing Education. So I get to work with our new pastors and their wives right out of seminary and work with continuing education encouragement and support with our seminaries and our CUS and other opportunities for that continuing education.
So Jonathan, a lot of people have asked me, when did you first think about becoming a pastor? And I had to kind of dig back in my memories, and I don't even remember the name of the person who first influenced me, but I was a student in a Lutheran school, and it was during a time my parents were going through a divorce, and the Lutheran teacher took some interest in me. I was new to the school because we had moved to a new community, and he just showed interest in me, and I thought, maybe being a church worker is something that I would be interested in doing. And then I saw how how the pastors served us, and that really was the beginning, though it was just a little ember. It took many, many years, decades, before it became a flame.
Yeah.
But I think it really all started there.
Yeah, that's great. I often get asked, so what led you to ministry? Maybe the path even more than the people. And for me, it was a lot later in life. And after my wife and I were married, we started working with the youth at our church. And through that process, people from my home church that I'd been a member of 26 years before I went to seminary, they encouraged us, said, hey, thanks for working with our youth. You do a great job with that. It's a real blessing to have somebody like you in their life. And that got me thinking. And then once I kind of started verbalizing those thoughts, a lot of the people at my home church said, hey, you'd be great at that. Yeah, that would be wonderful. So I had a lot of support from the people at my home congregation. My own family was supportive. It was a new path. I never thought I wanted to be a pastor, but when I started verbalizing it, they came alongside me with a lot of support and encouragement that I would, they thought I'd be good at that. So a little different from yours, the ember from early on, but for me it was that coming alongside. As I saw God working in my life, they then continued to encourage me towards that. And my pastor, I remember very vividly going into him and saying, can we talk? And 3 hours later, him saying, we need strong lay people as you are right now. He said, but you'd be a good pastor too. So we had those conversations.
So like you, I'm a second career pastor. I had a career in the defense industry.
Sure.
I was active as a lay person. Had really stopped thinking about becoming a pastor. Had a good career, and then God just kind of said, have something else in mind for you.
Sure.
All that was really, I didn't realize at the time, all that was really preparation for the way I'd be serving the church as a pastor. So, and I started out as a parish pastor. I was called to a congregation in Florida, existing congregation. I was the associate pastor, focused on evangelism. From there, I had opportunity to plant a new church, our first daughter church, so that was exciting.
Yeah.
And I was called to National Mission from that church start. That was really hard to leave. It was like leaving a baby behind.
Oh, sure.
And National Mission has really put all that experience from my previous career to use. And but last year, I had the opportunity to help start a new church and pastor this new church start. So I've got my foot back in parish ministry.
Your full circle, right?
Yeah, so because I think that's really ultimately where my heart is serving God's people in the local parish. What we do at the synod level is necessary, and we need pastors to do it, but it's that serving God's people in the context of their lives, in the most intimate moments of their lives often.
Indeed.
Very joyful moments, very sad moments that really makes being a pastor so special and such a unique vocation.
And the high calling, right, that parish level pastor. I can relate to that. You said something about, all those experiences preparing you. Me, second career, not your defense industry. I'm food retail. We owned a Dairy Queen, I managed a bagel bakery, and those people interactions and my management degree in my undergrad, I had no clue I wanted to be a pastor at that point in time. But that degree, that experience with people, and got to know them really well as they came into our restaurant, and that helped prepare me as well. And my first call was Detroit, urban setting, church and school, new to me. I didn't go through Lutheran schools or even Lutheran college, and but the experience was new to me. So I served in urban and suburban and 4 different parishes before I was called to the synod, and I would very much agree with you. It's a great calling to be in the parish. It's great work to be at the synod as well, and I have my foot in the parish from the aspect of working with the new pastors and their wives in our PALS program to help them, to strive early on in that ministry. So that's a blessing for me to serve in that way too. So,
and of course, serving at the synod level gives you a broader perspective of the synod at large, and really hits home the great need for us to raise up new pastors, not just for the immediate shortages, but for the future generations. And just like that Lutheran school teacher and pastor from that 1 year I was at that church, who probably I don't remember their names. They would never remember me.
Right.
They probably have no idea that they planted that seed. Right. I think now is the time for us to plant those seeds and encourage young men, all ages, even and second career men, to consider how they could serve the church as a pastor as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned our work at the synod. We have our specific initiative with the Set Apart to Serve church work recruitment, but it's amazing for me to see in my newness there how all of our units work together to encourage congregations and workers and all the work we do that serves the local parish as well. So it's great to be involved with that and partner all around our different units to be a part of all of that.
Yeah, I had several milestones that I can think of in pastoral ministry, but one of them I haven't experienced is a young man that I've catechized or baptized or instructed in some way to become a pastor. You know, and I hope I can get to see that someday, of saying, oh, I had that influence, I had that opportunity. Not just because they said, well, if he could do it, anybody can do it.
True, I wonder that sometimes, yeah. I have had that blessing. I've got one who just finished 2 years ago at seminary, who I catechized and knew his family well and encouraged them. And that is a joyful thing to look at that, who I knew as a young man, who's now a pastor and serving in the Indiana district. And a joy to be a part of that, by all means, yeah.